Welcome back, guys, to the Football Biz podcast. As always, I'm Graysen Mortimer, and Hunter is currently in Florida. So joining me today, you've seen him before. It's Harry Maguire's long-lost Irish cousin, Mr. Evan Maguire. Evan, welcome to the show.
Yeah, it's good to be back. Can't remember the last time I was on here. It had to have been around the World Cup,
It
I
was with
believe.
Matt. It was, I think, the World Cup roundup with Matt.
Yeah, because we were doing, I think, a recap of the final. That's right.
Yep. Yeah. So before we get into everything, unfortunately, there's some tragic news we have to share. Charlotte FC defender Anton Walks unfortunately passed away yesterday. It's Evan's club, Charlotte FC. So it's a big loss. Unfortunately, he was only 25. He had a long life ahead of him, and yeah, you really just don't want to see that.
Yeah, no, sure. I was only getting up for breakfast in the morning just to, get my day really started. And then I just check my phone. I just see that pop up. I'm just like, what?
Yeah,
I immediately,
yeah, exactly. Continue.
yeah, no, like I immediately just sent it to like all like my fellow friends that I go to games with. I'm just like, what's going on here? And then like they only just seen it this around the same time as I sent it, so we're all just there, just texting one another, like, oh my god, like what's going on? Is anyone else like impacted or whatnot? Like what happened?
Yeah, so I think it was a boating accident is what it looked like, and then it's because the team's currently training in Miami.
Yeah,
Um, so it's really unfortunate. You never want to see that, and football aside, it's a 25-year-old man. It's not like it was Pele. Pele obviously was a huge loss as well, but at least Pele lived a good full life.
yeah,
Unfortunately, Walks just didn't have that. So it's really unfortunate. And kudos to the league and everybody for paying their tributes. But really sad news to see.
yeah. No, it was really, really, really devastating to hear, and it's gonna be a lot different now when I go to the opening game now because it's gonna just have a bit of an eerie feel. I just sense happening. But just I guess just thoughts and prayers to his family, his friends, and even the teammates. Like I seen Jalen Lindsay posted something about it, and I just DM'd him. I just said, I'm not sure if you'll see this, but like I hope you're okay. And same with like just the rest of the team and the coaches who had to go through that or will be going through this now for quite some time. But in the sense of my other club, you'll never walk alone. That's how I
Yeah,
feel.
fair enough. Good stuff there. And yeah, I remember watching him play for Atlanta United. So it is a big loss. He was a former Tottenham product, came to MLS, was able to find his feet here, find a career here. And yeah, it's a big loss for the football world. And one that I hope Charlotte is able to carry on with and respect his legacy. And yes, as you said, my thoughts and prayers are with him, his family, and everyone that knew him. Now, going on to a more positive note, we can start to talk about some transfers here. There are some big ones that happened this week. We haven't made an episode since last Friday, so a lot has happened in the past week. Most notably, I would say yesterday, we saw that Leandro Trossard has agreed a deal to Arsenal for around it was 21 million base with a 5 million in potential bonuses and incentives. This is coming from obviously the man himself, Fabrizio Romano. And yeah, I mean, I think this is a good transfer. What are your thoughts on that one?
Yeah, it seems like it's going to be good for Arsenal and all, but I think some people have been like, criticizing like the price tag that's going for him, but really I don't see it personally as an issue because I feel like they need the depth, to go along with Saka and Martinelli because especially with now Jesus being down, like, they needed someone to step up. So what if one of those other main guys goes down? What are they going to do then?
Yeah, exactly. I agree full on there. I do think it's a great signing, especially since he's more of a natural left winger, so I think he'll cover Martinelli mostly. But again, he's also versatile, so it's possible that he could, fill in for Saka for a game as well if Saka's tired or if they're, doing some squad rotation or something along those lines. I think it's a good signing and yeah, the price I think is fine. I mean, we're in an age where transfers are at some points insane.
Yeah.
Most notably recently, we'll talk about it in a second, Mikhailo Mudryk. But yeah, I mean, anything under 30 million for a big club, it's I would say it's that's more money than I think we'll make in our lifetimes. But it's hard to say like anything under 30 mil is on the cheaper end.
Yeah, I'd say that that's a fair price tag for him. You know, he was doing very well anyway at Brighton right now. So I think really that's an okay value to get him at, especially since he's going to, the team that happens to be top of league right now and is looking to win it for like the first time in about 20 years. So I'd say, that's a good signing by Arteta.
I would agree. Yeah, exactly. And it's one that Arsenal could use. It's an offensive guy. Emil Smith Rowe is also back, so that's going to help their depth as well. I would say the one thing, if Arsenal does want to really continue to compete there, I think they might need one more central midfielder to cover Thomas and Granit Xhaka. But outside of that, I mean, Arsenal's doing okay. They also signed a Polish defender today from Spezia in Italy. So Arsenal's clearly making some moves. They didn't take the Mudryk hit too personally, and they've just kind of gone out in their business and signed some guys that are good. I actually think Trossard is a lot better of a signing than Mudryk, but yeah, good signing in my book. But moving on to Mudryk, I think we got to talk about this one. 100 million to Chelsea. I think he's a vastly unproven player. Obviously, he's had a good season for Shakhtar, but he's 22 and frankly did want to move to Arsenal, but 100 million for a guy who wanted to play for a different team. I mean, what do you feel about that?
Yeah, what was it? 8 years that they're giving him.
Eight and a half year deal.
Yeah, will he even make it to like even halfway of that? Even 2 years. I don't know how to feel about this. Like to be fair, I didn't really know too much about him coming out from the Ukrainian Premier League. I heard he's one of the better players in that league. So I just feel like right now where Chelsea's at, they're kind of just hitting the panic button like they usually do.
Yeah, I agree. I think the so far what we've seen under the Todd Bowley ownership has just been, I mean, outspending everyone. And remember, I mean, Chelsea does have to be careful too because FFP is still a thing. But I mean, it just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. 100 million for that guy. I mean, he looked miserable. Like in the pictures of him just like standing in Stamford Bridge, like clapping, like he knows he just joined a team that's in 10th, managed by Graham Potter. Like it's not the Chelsea from even 2 years ago where they were winning the Champions League under Thomas Tuchel and becoming the best team in the world at the time. And it's just a tough to see really, but yeah, I don't know how he's going to pan out. It's going to be really one to watch, but it's kind of a shocker to me.
Yeah, I agree. And quite frankly, I don't even know where he's going to fit into this team and how much playing time he's going to get because just looking at the past fixtures, the way that Potter lines up the team, it just I'm kind of scratching my head like where's he going to put him? Is he going to put him where Pulisic is, Ziyech, uh, where Mount is? Like is he going to be a sub? Is he going to start? And like also when João Felix comes back, like how is that all going to pan out to me?
Exactly. They just loaned Joao Felix as well. So there's so many guys that can play wing on this team, and I think that's Mudryk's natural position. So I mean, unless they're trying to play him as a center forward, which I don't think he is, I don't really see it. And then plus Kai Havertz, I think, is, to be fair, making the most of that position right now, playing as that kind of false nine. But it's a head scratcher for sure, as you said. But yeah, I don't think this one's gonna pan out. I would give it like maybe a 4 out of 10 if I was rating this one. Trossard, I'd give like a solid 8. I think he'll be a decent signing for Arsenal. But Mudryk for the money Chelsea paid, I don't see how it's gonna be worth it unless he maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he'll go out and score 15 goals a season, which I think would be I think you'd take that, but I just don't see how that happens.
Yeah, there is a big drastic difference between two of the big London clubs right now. One is making a good acquisition to stay in first place, whereas the other, like I said in the past, is just hitting the panic button like they usually do when stuff is not going typically as they'd expect.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll see what happens. They also signed a Dutch winger, Noni Madueke, or he's actually English. He was playing in the Dutch league for PSV. And for 29 million, and I looked at his stats. He's played 5 games this year. He's only scored a goal. I mean, he's decent. He's still young. He's I think only 20 years old. So I mean, it's kind of one for the future. But I mean, if they paid 29 million for him, so it's the same fee as Trossard. It's more than Trossard actually, but I mean, I get he's young, but look at it this way: if you're Chelsea right now, you're trying to sign, you know, proven talent to fit in your team, and their biggest need is a number 9, but they're going out and signing just not random guys, but guys that aren't really proven,
Yeah,
and
ex
Madueke
ex
is that. Go ahead.
yeah, no, exactly. Like when I seen this transfer and like also when you were telling me about it, my first initial thought was, who? Like I don't understand. Like they're just piling on the money just because like they have it now with Todd Bowley. Like I'm still going through like some of the lineups here, like in the background, trying to like understand where is he gonna play as well. Because like when it comes to like the midfield, and even like I said, they always change their lineup. So is he gonna take out Kovacic? Is he gonna take out Zakaria? Is he gonna play him like up front near Sterling? I don't get it.
Yeah, I think they've made one signing this transfer window that actually does make sense, and that's Betty Ashile, the center back from Monaco. Like that one I get because Thiago Silva, Koulibaly are they're getting up there in age. So I kind of get that one, but like the rest of them just have been all head scratchers and ones that I just don't see really panning out in the near future. Now Madueke again, he's only 20, so it's possible that he's one for the future, but 29 million for him seems, a bit much. Like it, Real Madrid have obviously paid, more than that for guys like Vinicius and Rodrigo, but that's because those guys were 16 and there were already signs of like these guys are going to be like really good. And I think we're seeing that now. I mean, Vinicius is now one of the best players in the world. So I mean, it's kind of like is Madueke like one that they're really trying to do now, or like I don't really get the sense behind this transfer, but that's just me. I think it's probably going to be a lot of people, but hard to say.
Yeah, to me, it just feels like they're trying to do like what some of the clubs do, like in particular with Liverpool, they just kind of like find and scout some young talent that like not many know familiar about, and then they just try to build them on top of there. But the real question is Graham Potter capable of doing so? Because with Brighton, like I know he did develop some players there, but like even at the same time now, like they're still doing okay without him now. So
Yeah.
it's not really the same thing now because Chelsea is a massive club compared to Brighton. Like Brighton is a top-notch club now in the past few years since they got back promoted to the Premier League, but they still like, aren't that like echelon up there in like
Yeah.
the top six or the big six, I should say.
Yeah, Brighton's is just a team that's made the most of what they have. And guys like Trossard, who just left them, are kind of a good example of that. Um, I mean, I think Brighton's big foundation is, I mean, they've obviously got a good defense led by Lewis Dunk and goalkeeper Robert Sanchez. But then, I mean, their real star players are their two central midfielders. Where you got Alexis McAllister and
Yeah, I was
Moises
gonna say
Caicedo.
him.
Those guys are both, I mean, immense talents, and hopefully Brighton's able to keep them because if they don't, then I mean they could be in a world of hurt. But yeah, I mean, as you said, Chelsea is a big club. They've won the Champions League twice. They've been successful in the Premier League for about 20 years now, and it's one that really should be good. And they're currently sitting 10th. And for the amount of money that they've spent, you got to hope for at least a top 5 finish. But under Potter, frankly, I don't see it happening. I think the limelight has caught up to him, and I just don't think that he's the guy that's going to get them to the next step. I think they should go out and hire somebody like Luis Enrique, for example. I think would be a great hire for this team. Now, I'm not obviously not his biggest fan, being a Real Madrid fan, but he's a good coach. He's won the Champions League. He's managed Spain. He's got a very Spanish style of coaching, meaning like the long passing, similar to Guardiola. I think Luis Enrique would be a great hire for Chelsea. Just sort of name out there.
Yeah, could be interesting. I don't know if we're gonna be thinking about managers initially just yet. Although I will say the mid off is coming up now, so coming with that outcome now, it could be where Potter might start to be in the hot seat.
Yeah, exactly. I think. I mean, I've got Liverpool winning that game. Liverpool against Chelsea.
I hope
You're a
so.
Liverpool fan. Obviously, you're
Yeah,
gonna back your team, but I mean, Chelsea's just in shambles. They managed to beat somebody 1-0. I can't remember who it was, but they're not a good team. Their streak against Fulham was broken. I mean, that's just kind of like
yeah,
Chelsea always beat Fulham.
yeah.
Like, and yeah, they lost the other week. So hard to say what this transfer. The final transfer. There's two more. I listed one, the other one I didn't, but Chris Wood is actually going on loan to Nottingham Forest. This one caught me off guard a little bit, but
Yeah.
yeah. What are your thoughts on that one?
I'm wondering like will that like he actually like fit the play style because like I'm seeing from others now too from like the reaction like they're not sure if he's gonna fit the play style. But I think the reason obviously that they're gonna have him play is because they want to keep up. Like they've finally now gotten out of the relegation zone. They're finally picking up some form. They had some success now. I believe it was in the League Cup against Wolves, so they're kind of riding high a little bit now.
Yeah, exactly. And I think Nottingham Forest have done the right thing. I think they could have easily fired Steve Cooper, with being in the relegation zone, but they did the right thing and stuck with them. Because they did spend a lot of money, but a lot of these guys are taking time to really, get into shape. And I think it took him a while because they had so many signings to really find his best 11. And guys like Serge Aurier have, gone in there and played pretty well. But really where Wood comes in is yeah, kind of confusing because they have A1E who is,
Yes.
having a decent season. He scored the winner against, I think it was Leicester, recently. It was Leicester or Southampton. I can't remember who it was, but
It was
yeah, I mean
Southampton.
it was Southampton. Okay. He's having a decent season. So I think Wood is gonna, similarly to Newcastle, where he was probably third choice striker at this point behind Isak and Callum Wilson. Um, I think he's going to be, second fiddle to Taiwo Awoniyi. So hard to say what happens there.
Yeah, exactly. Just following up on what you said with the whole new transfers, like Steve Cooper basically has a brand new team from the one that pretty much got them back into the Premier League. So it's still taking time to find that balance, and I'm glad that they did stick with him too. Kind of like with the meme that's going around right now. They're letting him cook. They are letting him cook, and they're sticking by him and being able to give him a chance to develop this team, and hopefully maybe because we still have a bit of a half of the season left, they could maybe get themselves into the top half of the table. That's still, not out of mind yet.
Yeah, they've got some guys in that team that are very experienced, that have played for bigger clubs. Obviously, the likes of Aurier, who I had mentioned, but
Lingard,
Lingard's there, Renan Lodi's there. These aren't tiny, guys that haven't played. I mean, they've played for some big teams. Obviously being in there. So there's definitely the potential for them to make it far. But then you got guys like, you know, Nico Williams who have played in Liverpool system, and Willie Boley's been around a while. Remo Freuler, Dean Henderson for Man United. But yeah, I mean, I think it's possible for them. I don't think they'll make top 10 per se, but I think it's reasonable to say that they'll survive this season.
yeah, I'm feeling pretty good about them surviving right now at the moment, and I'm just like looking here through the lineup again. Like they also, seemingly they have Johnson and Gibbs White too up front
Brendan
that they can be
Johnson's been
using.
very good recently.
Yeah, because like I'm just looking recently, Cooper changed the lineup to a 4-3-1-2 where he has them both starting, and that's the team that he put out for the recent game against Leicester City. So I'm wondering now where Chris Wood is gonna like fit in going into the next game. Will he try out A1E and Chris Wood to see how that combo goes against? Who are they playing? Bournemouth? Yeah, they're playing Bournemouth.
Yeah,
next.
Bournemouth, obviously, I mean, at this point, I think Bournemouth might be getting relegated.
Yeah.
They had that little run of form there once they fired Scott Parker, where they looked like they were going to really take off, but now they're not doing so hot right now. And I think if they want to stay up, they got to hire somebody, maybe like a Sean Dyche or well, yeah, that someone like him, like Sean Dyche. I don't know if he's still managing, but Big Sam maybe like someone like that, where they'll solidify the defense. They won't score a bunch, but they need something right now.
Yeah, they do because pretty much right now that last relegation slot is really against Bournemouth and West Ham at the moment. So because it looks like Southampton's definitely going to go down. Everton, ooh, it's not
Yeah,
looking good.
yeah. I mean, if we're talking about the bottom three, Everton have got to fire Frank Lampard. He's got to go.
Yeah.
Class player, but championship level coach at best. And yeah, I mean, Southampton have already fired Hassan Hoodle. I don't really see them going anywhere. Um, and similarly, I think West Ham, they said that the next game is do or die for David Moyes. If he wins, he's still fine. If he loses, he's done, which is a shame because he's had some success with West Ham, but obviously right now they're in a terrible run of form for the amount of money that team has spent.
Yeah, it's pretty sad to see Moyes possibly going, especially like how he's gotten West Ham to where they were, all the fans rallying around them, being like, "We're massive everywhere we go," like that was very enjoyable to me.
Yeah, for sure. Anyways, let's transition a bit to some of the matches that we've seen this past week. We're going to start with the Manchester Derby. So obviously United did win that 2-1. City scored first through Grealish, but then Bruno Fernandes comes in with the winner. Obviously a bit of a controversial winner, considering that there were hints of Rashford being offside. Now obviously I'm a City fan, so I'm going to be a little bit biased and say that he was. Um, but I think a lot of neutrals have said he was too. But obviously there's been fortune for basically every team in the league that with VAR, and then obviously some teams have had VAR go against them. City's one of those ones that they've had some favorable calls go their way. I will be honest with that, but this one I think was pretty clear cut and should have been called offside.
Yeah, I was very skeptical too when I was first watching it because I was just getting up in the morning too, and I was watching it with my dad, and even he was telling me like that was very questionable. Like even in like the lower leagues where they don't have VAR, like they'd be probably calling that offside, but it's just the technicality of the rule. So going forward now, will we see like players try to do like that trap and confuse the keeper? Because that could lead to a lot more controversy in the future. Or going forward as well, will the Premier League or the FA change the rule? But then again, that would have to go through, I guess,
FIFA.
FIFA. Yeah, because that would be like a whole kind of world issue. So that goal is gonna have a lot of implications going forward.
I think it will too, and it's a big one. I mean, that's one that cost City 3 points. They obviously, as it stood, it would have still been, losing 2 points, but Arsenal have an 8 point lead right now. And I mean, they still have to play City twice, but even if City wins both of those matches, Arsenal still is 2 points up on them. So, I mean, that's, you know, potential for, a title changing thing. Similarly, obviously, there was, the one against Everton last year where that was a clear cut handball. There was, I mean,
Yeah,
and they got away with that one. So,
that one pissed me off.
well, yeah, I mean that was your team against mine, but your team's implicate like Everton. If that was called and they scored that, then Liverpool would have won the league. But
Yeah.
um, but I guess Everton just didn't want to help you out there. Um, but yeah, I mean it's one of those ones where yeah, I mean if Rashford is not in that position, Ederson goes for the ball and probably saves it. He's very good off his line. We all know he is.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, that's one where it's you got to define the rule there and really see because yeah, other teams if they're good enough are going to do that same thing.
I 100% agree. Something has to be done about this because you'll just get again just you might even see Fernandez and Rashford do that again in the future because especially now they're playing against Arsenal.
Yeah, yeah, and United's already beat Arsenal once, so it's one that we'll see. Um, but yeah, I was talking about Arsenal. They did win the North London Derby 2-0. This one I think was pretty comfortable for them. Tottenham weren't really in this match, even though they were at home and probably should have been. But yeah, Arsenal are pretty unstoppable right now. It's going to be tough to see who's able to get in their way, but they are playing United. United are on a bit of a roll. Obviously, they had the 1-1 draw with Crystal Palace, but um, United are still. I mean, they're showing signs that there's some life in this team.
Yeah, for the first time in like about like what 5, 6 years now, I can actually
Since
kind of
Mourinho, I would argue.
yeah, exactly like what I'm thinking. Because like even in the past when they've had like a top three, top four finish, it really wasn't that convincing because like everyone else wasn't that great. Like the year we won the league, I know they got what was it, either fourth or third, because that
Something
was the
like
year.
that, yeah.
Yeah, because they signed Fernandez and then on the final day they pretty much uh got bailed out against Leicester City, and like even then I know they got Champions League football, but again, all the teams were like they weren't that great. It was literally just Liverpool and then City and then
Everyone else.
United. Yeah, and like the point tally was still like off the charts. And then the COVID year, the COVID year again, that was just a technicality because a lot of other teams were injured, including ourselves. Like I know we just scrapped top four that year because we went through so much stuff, like with
Yeah,
injuries
especially
and
with Van Dijk's injury on that front.
yeah, and like I even told like all my deluded United friends like don't get too excited because this year with everyone coming back now, it's gonna be a rude
Yeah.
awakening. And boy was I right because we smacked them 5-0 at their place, sent them all home back to London, and then at Anfield we pretty much almost did it again.
Yeah. But I mean, I mean, if Arsenal versus United is going to be a great match because I think right now, if any team is stopping Arsenal, it is probably United. Now, City obviously had a good game yesterday. We'll talk about that soon, but um, they're not playing their best football. They're not. Liverpool's certainly not. Chelsea, we already have. I mean, I've talked about them for 3 episodes in a row now. We know
Yeah.
that they're a freaking dumpster fire right now. And other than maybe someone like Newcastle who did stop Arsenal for a little bit. They got that 0-0 tie there. Um, I don't really see how somebody stops them. They're on a roll, and I think if anyone does, maybe put a dent in their current title aspirations, it will be Manchester United. They've already beaten them once. Arsenal's only lost in the year, and yeah, I mean we'll see what happens there. But Arsenal did get the 2-0 over Tottenham, and they're right now on a roll. Um, so one game that was big other outside of the Premier League over the weekend was Barcelona winning the Spanish Supercopa in Saudi Arabia over Real Madrid. Um, and similarly to Manchester City, the other team I support is on a bit of a slide right now. They're not playing their best stuff. And that is Real Madrid. They lost 3-1 in this game. They managed to squeak out a 3-2 win in the Spanish Cup over Villarreal. But I mean, good win for Barcelona, not the best play for Real Madrid on that day.
No, the kid shined. Same with Lewandowski. Like pretty much every single goal there, it was just Pedri, Gavi, Lewandowski, all of them following up to the it's like or what should I say, coming up to the goals. It was just all of them really. And quite frankly, Real Madrid did not execute a plan to stop them. They just kept coming.
Yeah, it's a tough one. Madrid obviously did win the Clasico back in the fall, but I mean, the league title is going to be one of these two teams, and Barcelona, frankly, need it more with their financial situation. Um, Madrid are going to do everything in their power to stop that, but that Clasico is going to have big implications. They're going to have to form a better plan if they want to stop Barcelona's midfield, um, and really play their game. But obviously, Madrid's still in the Champions League. I think that's their competition. I think they care a lot more about it than they do La Liga. But it's gonna be one to watch if you're a Spanish fan.
Yeah, I'm very surprised that Barcelona actually being in this title race. Xavi, I guess, has been doing very good with assembling this team and actually getting them out of the rough mess that they've been in. The only thing is, they're still in Europa League, but again, Bayern just loves terrorizing them.
Yeah, Hunter would be happy with that one. But I do think that Barcelona would be the favorite for the Liga. But I mean, yeah, they got to get it done in Europe, and they just haven't been able to do that yet. I had them getting third in their group, and that's exactly where they finished. Back when I did some Champions League predictions, but um, yeah, I think that it's going to be a tight race. It has been thus far. But the Spanish Supercopa does go to Barcelona. That does help them a little bit for their repertoire. I think what really has been the difference maker for them has been obviously, the likes of Pedri, but Lewandowski has been, the guy for them. And without him, I mean, it's hard to say where they'd be.
Yeah, he was the big signing, I'd say, for Barcelona this summer out of all the ones that they had.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, he's a bona fide world class, super striker. So, that's a big one. And there were a couple matches that I saw, just the score lines of, that really kind of, I had to at least mention them. One of them was Atalanta winning 8-2, over, and I really apologize to any fan of this club if I butcher their name, but Salernitana. I mean, 8-2. I mean,
Yeah.
that's a big result. I mean, the last time I thought of an 8-2 match was obviously, and I love to mention this match because I despise Barcelona, is 8-2 Bayern Munich over Barcelona. The game where Alfonso Davies turned Nelson Semedo into wet spaghetti, and just made a meal of him and setting up that goal for Kimmich. But 8-2 that's the last 8-2 I remember. And I think it's
Manchester
probably the
United. Manchester United as well against
yeah,
Arsenal.
back in the day
Yeah.
over that was against Arsenal, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was Arsenal. Yeah, 8-2. It was, I think, 2011 when it happened.
Yeah, I don't see that happening anytime soon, especially not the matches upcoming. But yeah, they do happen, but they're very rare.
Yeah.
And yeah, Atalanta played a great match, and they're fighting for the Champions League right now. Technically, if I pick an Italian team, it's Atalanta. I have some friends there that are big Atalanta fans. I did get to see them play when I was over there. Um, but it's a good match for them, and I really hope that they're able to squeak into Europe.
Yeah, a Chow really poor Chow, man. Getting eight past him, especially after being the Superman again for Mexico in the World Cup. That's not
Wait,
a
I
way to
didn't
go
know. I
back.
didn't know he played for that team.
Yeah, he's the goalkeeper for
Oh,
Salonita.
hold on.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah,
Oh
you didn't know
boy.
that?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, poor
I
man. Oh,
He's played for some shocking teams. I mean, that AC Ajaxio team he was on back in the day was, I mean, they were pretty bad. Yeah, I'm just seeing that now. Yeah, he was the keeper in that game.
no, because I can tell you about that right now. There was two penalties. The first one he actually got a hand to, and it still went in, like it swerved off his hand and batted behind him. And then the second penalty, I'm trying to think, it was against Lookman. He saved it, and then Lookman got the rebound. He was very very unlucky. Like that's what I'm
That's
saying. I feel
tough.
so bad for him.
Yeah, I forgot Lookman's playing for Atalanta, but yeah, he's obviously we've seen him in the Prem for the likes of Fulham. So I mean, he's a quality player and one that has been good for Atalanta. Now one of their star players also scored in that game to Teo and Coop Miners. But I mean, Jermaine Boga also got one,
It was a
and
deflected
yeah,
goal as well. So that's three that Acho had that has been so unlucky.
yeah, it's really. I mean, you gotta feel for him. But I mean, the thing is there's some decent players in this side. I mean, Ochoa obviously, Federico Fazio's in that team. He played for the likes of Tottenham and Roma. Antonio Candreva was in this team. Like Christoph Piatek. Like, there's some guys in this team that are like well known, and they still just absolutely like got obliterated. But good match for Atalanta, not so much for the likes of Mr. Guillermo Ochoa.
No,
Yeah,
God no.
rough match on his end. But there was another big one over the weekend too. Is Monaco won their game 7-1. And the last time I can think of a 7-1 is 2014. I think everyone remembers that match. But with Wissam Ben Yedder did score a hat trick in that game. He's a player I'm very familiar with. I managed to see him back in 2017, and that game was actually Sevilla against Liverpool. Liverpool was up
Ooh.
3-0 and they blew it. It was
Oh
the
no.
game ended 3-3. Wissam Ben Yedder scored twice in that game off a free kick and a penalty. Um, and yeah, that was the days before you guys had Van Dijk and Allison. The goalkeeper for that match was everyone's favorite blonde, Loris Karius.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I remember you told me about this before. You won't let me live it down.
Nope, nope, not at all. That was easily, I think, the most entertaining match I've ever been to, and I've been to a lot of matches in my lifetime. That one still sticks out. I mean, a team coming back from 3-0 at home, like that's that's an exciting match. When they scored the equalizer in the 92nd minute, I lost my cool. I went insane. Um, it was awesome. But yeah, I mean, Van Yedder scored a hat trick. Monaco had a convincing win, and I don't really know where that puts them in the table, but I think that they are competing for a Champions League spot. And they actually beat Ochoa's former club, AC Ajaccio, in that match. So not a good day for teams that Guillermo Ochoa played for. Monaco
No.
is in fourth, so they are competing for that spot. They have an unbeaten streak of four. PSG's obviously looked a little shaky in their past couple of games, so we'll see what happens in the implications there in the French league.
Yeah, we'll see. Monaco's sitting in fourth right now, all thanks to Ben Yedder's hat trick. One was a penalty, and then one of the other ones again, it was they slipped him in, and he just finished it, and like the far
Yeah,
post keeper knew nothing about it.
yeah, exactly. So big implications there, and Monaco's got a great squad, and hopefully they're able to get that win there. And the last match outside of England we're going to talk about, other than a big friendly, we'll mention last, but
Oh,
Inter
okay.
Milan did win the Supercoppa Italiana over AC Milan. The game was 3-0, and Lautaro Martinez, despite looking like a prime Andy Carroll in the World Cup, he looked pretty good yesterday, pretty good in that game.
I guess he's just living off, that big victory. I guess the confidence, even though he didn't really have much in it, he's like, I guess I'm him now. I got my World Cup medal.
Yeah, I mean he's been a good player for Inter, and I'm honestly surprised he looked that bad in the World Cup. Like he was, I mean he was missing everything. You couldn't hit a target if you asked him to. Like if he was on archery, if you asked him to hit a bullseye, he was gonna hit like the target next to it. Like he he was awful in the World Cup. Like he could not score. But he looked lively in this game, and the Porficaio Tamori did not know what to do with him.
Yeah, he was holding up his shirt and everything, like he was
Yeah, he
Messi.
was
Like,
he was doing the Messi celebration, the
yeah,
iconic
exactly.
one.
He was doing the one against El Clasico. Yeah, he was just like
Yeah,
I'm him.
yeah, it was a lot, but I mean, hey, he backed up his celebration with his gameplay, so good on him, and yeah, good win for Inter Milan. Another piece of silverware for them and their resurgence there. And then yeah, one match that I did see yesterday, I did watch the full game, was Man City against Tottenham. I have to mention it. I mean, it's a big comeback. Um, Two horrific errors in the first half that led to goals for Spurs. The first one with Ederson just passing it to Rodri. Rodri not knowing much about it, and really, I mean, it falls on Ederson because it was a terrible pass. And then Kulusevski does everything right, puts it right past him. 1-0. I was like, oh, this is not going to end well. And then after Emerson scores off of some frankly terrible defending, I was like 2-0 for Spurs going into halftime. This is Antonio Conte, like defensive minded coach. Like City's going to have some trouble. Then Riyad Mahrez decided to come out and turn into prime Arjen Robben and just score a bunch of great, score two great goals and set up another one. So good win for City.
Yeah, Haaland getting the equalizer. He's finally showing back up now, getting his first goal of the new calendar year, I believe.
It was, yeah, he needed that one.
Yeah, he needed that to boost up his confidence because he was kind of, on a bit of poor form. But when it comes to Haaland, one or
Two
two
games without a
games.
goal for him is bad form.
Yeah, I know, like first world problems, like your main man who only scores like how many goals, like doesn't score for like one or two games. Oh no, you know.
Yeah.
Uh,
But
Mahrez also coming in with the brace, that was he's
yeah.
stepping back up now, finding back his form. He always usually finds form around this time of year anyway.
Mhm. Yeah, he's been, I mean, he hasn't done anything up until this point. Like he's been pretty off form. He's only got 4 goals in the year. 2 of them came yesterday. So it's one that I really do think if Mahrez can step up and turn into the player that we know he is, I mean, I would be scared if I was the Premier League because obviously you got Holland. I mean, he's when he's not modeling, he's terrorizing defenders and scaring everybody. But Mahrez, when he's the guy for City, I mean, he's borderline unstoppable. And if he can get his form back and play like he did against Spurs for the rest of the year, I mean, I honestly don't see how City loses a match. They should have lost yesterday. I mean, 2-0 down against a good Tottenham team. And they managed to, I mean, just turn on the Jets and make Hugo Lloris look like Ochoa in that 8-2, loss. But it's it's one that definitely I think if you're the Prem, you don't want to see Mahrez playing like this.
And if he can master his penalties, whoa.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about Mahrez's penalties because they're very hit or miss. He'll either put it top bins or, I mean, it'll be the weakest looking penalty you'll ever see. So it's hard to say, but I mean, thankfully, there's other guys in that City team that can take pens. De Bruyne has obviously had a good craft with it. Holland can take them. Um, Gundogan has taken a lot of them in the past. Even the likes of Phil Foden, I feel like, are probably better at penalties than Mahrez.
Yeah, there should be no issues there with taking penalties. If Pep finds a way to mess that up, I don't know what he's doing.
Yeah, if he's on the pitch, the guy I would actually have take them is Gundogan. He's normally pretty comfortable. He scored one in the Champions League final back in 2013. He's really good under pressure. He's only missed 1 or 2, I think, in his City career. Mahrez has missed like 5 or 6. So I would have Gundogan take them if I was Pep. I mean, it's your captain, it's your leader. Have him take them. Or if he's not in the field, if Holland is, Holland should take them. I mean, it's the guy. So I mean, that is, but big comeback for City. They absolutely needed that. Spurs, I think maybe Spurs at halftime. Maybe the team talk was, look, guys, if we do this, Arsenal is almost guaranteed to win the league. Let them score on you. We don't. It doesn't matter if we lose this one. We just have to make sure that Arsenal doesn't win the league. So I don't know. Maybe that was the halftime team talk, but I mean, Tottenham was outclassed in every facet of the game in the second half, and yeah, I mean, great comeback for Man City. Kind of reminded me of Aston Villa last year. But yeah, big win.
Yeah, no, but the thing is though now with the implication when it comes to Tottenham botching it is they're not really on course right now to even be in the top four. So could Conte maybe see now the hot seat a little bit?
I don't think so. I mean, I don't really know who Spurs would hire if it wasn't Conte. And I honestly think that Conte is still the right guy for the job. Because he's a world class coach. I mean, in my opinion, I would say Conte is top 10 in the world. I don't think that's super controversial. I mean, he's won it in Italy with both Juventus and Inter. He coached Italy. He's won it with Chelsea. He's a great coach, and I
Yeah,
think
he
that
is.
I think that there aren't really many better options out there right now. Like obviously they could maybe if they did get rid of Conte, Pochettino is back out there. Maybe he would come back, but um, Conte, unlike Pochettino, Conte knows how to win trophies,
Right.
and even if Tottenham does qualify for the Europa League next season, they'd be one of the favorites to win that tournament, and if they win anything, I mean, it's a good thing for Spurs. I don't know
Yeah,
if there's like if they need a trophy. They haven't won anything since 2008.
right.
Like so, it's yeah. I would say Conte's still the man for the job, even if they finish fifth.
Yeah, no, I agree, but I was just thinking though, just cause like it's Tottenham and everything, you know.
Yeah,
I guess it's just the history of Tottenham, as they'd say.
yeah. Daniel Levy. I mean, we know he's a bit of he likes to fire guys, but the fans. I mean, I went to a game last year. The fans have his back, and even now, I think I would still say the fans still have his back. I think they know how good he is, and I think they know that if they got rid of him, the
They'd be
chances
screwed.
of them replacing him with someone better are very low. Like there. I mean, I don't see this happening, but unless Klopp left Liverpool, again, I don't see it
No,
happening. But unless
get
that
that out of your
happened,
head.
there isn't a better coach,
Get that out of your head.
for them. Yeah, I don't think it'll happen either. I mean, if it did, it would have been back in 2020, where they
Yeah.
looked terrible, and he didn't leave then, and he's obviously, also a top 10 coach in the world, in my opinion.
Top
The
three
last
right
match
now.
we're gonna Yeah, the last match we're going to talk about today is one that is kind of a once in a lifetime type of match. It's the match that was played in Saudi Arabia, where PSG played the Saudi All Stars, and they won 5-4. Which I didn't watch this game, but that seems like a pretty good matchup.
Greatest friendly ever.
Yeah, I mean, Ronaldo scored twice. Of course, one of them was off a penalty, but he scored twice. Messi scored one. Mbappe scored one. Um, Juan Bernat is going to be in shame for that one. But yeah, I mean, I I don't really know what else to say for this, but this just seems like a good match.
Yeah, and the thing is, was it the last time that we see Messi and Ronaldo play against one another? Because that's
I would say it's very possible. Unless the other thing that maybe could happen, and I say maybe, big maybe, I think both of them could potentially go to MLS at some point. I think Ronaldo, when his Saudi contract is up, I think he'll look to conquer North America. Maybe someone like LAFC or LA Galaxy will look at him. I don't really see him wanting to live elsewhere. Messi's already been
Miami.
linked with
Yeah,
Inter Miami.
yeah.
So I think it's possible that they link up in MLS, but unless that happens, I think this is the last time we're going to see them play each other. And it just shows that how great they've been in their entire career. Both of them have, you know, pressured each one to be better. Ronaldo, I think, said it perfectly. It's like him and I have been at the top for the last 15 years. Like it's been insane to watch these guys. Obviously, Messi was 7 Ballon d'Ors, Ronaldo was 5. Um, there could be the argument that Messi should only have 6, but that's a different
Mm.
different different topic for a different episode. But regardless, they have, so much joint success with the amount of trophies that they have won. Messi with all the La Ligas and a couple Champions Leagues, Ronaldo with 5 Champions Leagues, doing it in different leagues, winning 3 different league titles. I mean, there's just so much greatness between these two, and yeah, I think this could very well be the last time we see them play each other. And if it is, it was a very fitting end, final match between them because 5-4, great matchup. Was entertaining. I think
Oh
the
yeah.
spectators, I think, got everything that they were looking for, and
Speed was
yeah,
happy.
yeah. Oh, he would have been buzzing.
He was
But
there.
oh, was he? Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
that's awesome. But yeah, fantastic matchup and one that I think definitely deserves the plaudits that it got.
Oh yeah. That's from start to finish. I don't think anyone was like getting bored of it, except maybe for like the 350,000 that like got off of YouTube's live stream of it when like they all got subbed off eventually. But still, I still
Yeah,
enjoyed the match personally. I caught a little bit of it.
yeah. I wasn't able to, unfortunately, but I mean, just looking at it, I mean, it seemed like a great matchup. Um, so yeah, that'll do it for the matches. Now we have one final thing, and it's everyone's favorite segment. We got our hero, goal, and idiot of the week. We'll start with hero of the week. My pick is Riyad Mahrez. I mean, 2 goals against Tottenham. Without him, I really don't see how City stay in the title race. So I have to pick him for my hero of the week. Who's yours?
Hero of the week. Uh, you might get a little bit pissed off here, but I'm gonna have to say Marcus Rashford.
Yeah, I mean that's fair. Hunter picked him a couple of weeks ago, so I mean he's been United's main man. I can't really dispute that. But yeah, I mean him and Mahrez both I think are good picks for that segment. And yeah, I mean Mahrez carrying City, Rashford has absolutely been United's go-to guy.
Yeah.
And without him, it's hard to say again where they'd be. Him and Casemiro, I say, have been the main guys. Casemiro's out for the next match, so
Mm.
we'll see what happens there. But yeah, okay. Moving on to goal of the week. I wouldn't be surprised if we have the same pick for this one.
Oh yeah.
Michael Elise's free kick against Man
Yeah.
United. I mean,
Hmm.
that was a fantastic free kick. Like off the top of the bar, bounces up into the net against David De Gea, who is usually pretty good at saving those. Like that was, I mean, that was an absolute stunner.
You can put that to music anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I think I watched that goal and I was like, oh wow, like that's phenomenal. I mean, Elise outside of Zaha, I in my opinion, Elise is the best player on Crystal Palace. He's got the flair, he's got the skill, he's got the
He's
speed,
cold.
he's got great, obviously great free kick technique, but he's good at crossing. Like he brings a lot to that team. Um, and yeah, I mean, great goal of the week. I mean, I don't really think there's another one that would even come close.
No, he was cold with it. Even like the celebration after, just like turning away, like he absolutely did nothing. Oh
Yeah.
man,
I think he knew. I think if it was a winner, I think he probably would have shown a little bit more of emotion.
yeah.
But yeah. As for my idiot of the week, I'll actually let you go first for this one. Who was yours?
I was actually thinking before, like it was yours. I was thinking Hugo Lloris against Arsenal. Just the stinker of letting that goal go in off his palms. I'm just like, oh,
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. That's a fair pick. There's a few guys that we could have chosen. That's definitely one of them. An honorable mention I'm going to give to Casemiro for taking the dumbest yellow card to get suspended for the match against Arsenal. I mean, that's a big one for United as well as it is for Arsenal. I mean, he's been one of United's main guys, so I think we're going to see McFred in that match, and we'll see what happens there.
yeah,
He's my honorable mention, but my idiot of the week has got to be Juan Bernat of
yes,
PSG. How do you get sent off in a friendly, man? It's a friendly. Like it reminds me of that time where Sevilla got a guy sent off against Liverpool in a friendly at Fenway Park a couple years ago. Like it's a friendly. You got a red card in a friendly, and to add insult to injury, when he was about to get sent off, a guy from the Saudi 11 just
yes.
runs over and makes the motion of
I
the
say
card.
that was amazing.
Like that was funny. But yeah, no, Juan Bernat is absolutely. I mean, getting sent off in a friendly, just I mean, that is dumb.
It reminds me of like, those charity matches, especially the ones where they do like YouTube All-Stars versus the Sidemen. That's exactly what I was thinking. It was like a skit out of that.
Oh, straight up, and yeah, no qualms there. I mean, come on, like if it wasn't him, I would have given it to Casemiro. But I mean, Juan Bernat, man, like what are you doing?
Oh,
He got sent
legend.
off in a friendly. Oh
Legend.
God. But anyways, that'll do it for us this week. We talked about a lot of stuff, a lot of big transfer news. Talked a little bit about the relegation zone in the Premier League. We talked about some big matches, including the Spanish Supercopa and the Italian Supercopa. Both massive games there. We talked about a couple large matches between Atalanta and AS Monaco, both winning by massive margins. Not a good day for Guillermo Ochoa, but United won the Manchester Derby. We talked about that match. We talked about Arsenal winning the North London Derby, creating an 8-point lead over Manchester City in the table. Big implications there. We talked about City's comeback against Tottenham, winning that match 4-2. And then we talked about the potential final matchup between Messi and Ronaldo. And then obviously, as usual, we talked with our hero, goal, and idiot of the week. Until next time, I'm Grayson Mortimer,
And I'm Evan Maguire.
and we will see you next time.